Welcome to the Cincy Postcast. I'm your host, Kevin Wallace, and before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you about our sponsor, Streetside Brewery. You know we've been talking about them all season long. These guys are fantastic, making some of the best beer in the city. We are so happy to be partnering with Streetside Brewery. Their tap room is great because there's always events going on. Thursday, you've got bingo going on at 7 p.m. You got live music. Basically, all day Saturday, Sunday morning, they got you covered with a Formula One watch party, Blue Boat shoes playing later in the evening. There's always something going on there. But maybe the most important part, as a listener of the podcast, you can go to Streetside Brewery on site, and if you tell them you are a listener of the podcast, you heard this ad, they will knock $1 off of your beer. So you've got no excuse. Go enjoy an event. Go take in a brew on their amazing patio and tell them the podcast sent you. Save $1 off of your next beer. And thank you again and again and again to Streetside for sponsoring this episode of the Postcast. And on this episode, well, it is a very, very special episode of the Postcast. It was recorded live in person in New York City as we went and traveled to the FC Cincinnati away leg at New York Red Bulls. The blood feud was back on. The result did not go our way, but we had fun. We tell you a little bit about our weekend. We don't want to spoil too much of the video that will be coming out. Talk about the game. In part 2, is the sky falling? How do we feel about the Leagues Cup? What are we looking at there? And in part 3, we answer your Patreon questions, including a special appearance by Jonah. Put that all together, you have one heck of a Cincy Postcast. Oh, and joining me to talk about all of that and more, I'm looking at two gentlemen, each lying in two different beds. This is a very different edition of the Postcast. Joined by the Chief, joined by the Grayson. Chief, the Grayson. Yeah. So, full disclosure, very early morning for what I'm going to say is our situation here. But no, Chief, is this the most relaxed recording session we've ever had?
Yeah. This is nice. We're in a hotel room. One of the larger hotel rooms I've ever been in when visiting New York. This is a spacious room. I think they gave us these rooms by mistake is the only thing I can figure out. That they were oversold in some other manner. And we somehow managed to get the larger rooms, which was very, very nice. Because usually when you go to New York, you are crammed into basically the equivalent of walk-in closets with beds.
Yes.
Stayed in a lot of New York hotels where it's a bed that at least 3 sides of the bed touch walls.
Right.
This is nice. No, I'm relaxed right here. My only complaint is how I am currently lounging in my current situation. There is a large light fixture that blocks my ability to see Grayson, which I think is probably a Grayson would consider a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely a perk.
Hey, buddy.
There he is. Grayson, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. You know, we had a nice full day yesterday. I was up at 5 a.m. to catch my flight.
You in particular had a long day.
And we rolled into our rooms at 1:30.
Yeah.
So it was nice to get a couple of hours of sleep.
Yeah, you pushed a 24-hour day. You were so close.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about that. This will eventually be revealed on when the video comes out that we've shot over the course of this weekend.
Yeah.
We all fell victim to, like so many Americans, fell victim to the CrowdStrike catastrophe of 2024. That resulted in significant flight delays for Kevin, myself, and our cameraman, Kevin's friend Andrew.
Yes.
We're not paying anyone here. And Grayson himself actually just straight up missed flights. I had a flight canceled while you were sitting on the plane, I believe.
So my first flight was canceled.
Oof.
My second one was delayed 4 hours. We got on the plane, and when we were on the plane, the captain walked out and he said, "Hey, everybody, they're canceling us. I don't know why, but you have to leave."
Oh.
And then I had another flight that was supposed to be like 3 hours after that. That one was pretty quickly canceled. So then I had to go back to the airport and catch a 7 a.m.
Brutal.
Saturday morning. I was at the airport for 7 hours, I think.
Man.
Woof.
The only people that should be at the airport for 7 hours should work there.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Or, if it's some like Tom Hanks in the terminal.
If you accidentally
situation?
live there now.
Yeah.
I live here.
I should be able to establish citizenship at the airport, which, as we all know, is like it's like a liminal stateless space.
Right.
So,
it's international waters in the middle of major cities.
yeah, maybe next time I will say like, I'm formally requesting asylum.
Renounce your citizenship right there.
No, I'm a citizenship of Hudson News.
Man, we were not without drama at the hotel as well. They had been afflicted by the IT outage as well, and so it took some convincing that we had already paid for the rooms, so that was good.
No rooftop. The rooftop not open yet.
The rooftop bar not open yet. A real bait and switch. And
I was really looking forward to the rooftop that I found out about 5 minutes before I found out that it wasn't open yet.
But see, here's the thing in life, though, is what you can do, Kevin, is you can call up and you can complain.
Right.
That, like, I saw pictures of a rooftop bar and there was no rooftop bar. It's amazing how much in life you can accomplish if you have no shame about calling a customer support line and acting indignant about whatever happened to your personal situation.
I will say that's how we got these hotel rooms in the first place. So,
now that explains so much now.
There was a mistake in the original ones. We were supposed to be at a Hampton Inn at the ass end of town, and I discovered some false advertising before we showed up, which was good. About 4 hours on the phone that ended at 2 a.m. one night the week leading up to this, and we ended up here. So well done us.
Yeah, go us. How about that? That's the postcast difference right there, is we're willing to fight to make sure that our hotel rooms are slightly nicer.
Right. The hotel rooms that we've literally only slept in.
Yeah, we haven't done anything else here at all. We've been record a podcast. We might have been better off just staying at the hotel last night versus going to this game.
Oh, man. I mean, look, if folks don't know, we've recorded 40 hours of footage collectively.
Footage. Yeah.
We will have another video coming out if and when Chief edits the video.
Yeah, it's an ongoing thing now that whenever we shoot video like this, it's always a bummer to go back and watch because I know how the movie ends. It's like editing a snuff film. It's like, oh, this is good footage. We really did a good. Oh, I forgot.
The president's really enjoying his visit to Dallas.
Like we're all so positive right now.
I mean, look, intellectually, I think we all would have understood that there was no reason to be positive going into this game.
Yeah.
The trip has been fun, though. It was fun up until that moment, for sure.
I want to hear Grayson say that. Has the trip been fun, Grayson?
Love the pause.
Yeah. Yeah, the trip has been fun. There have been experiences.
People on the trip have been having fun.
Yeah, it seems like people are having fun around us everywhere we go.
Yeah,
that's true.
People were having fun at the show.
They were having a blast.
Might have to bleep that out.
Oh yeah, that might be a spoiler.
Yeah. Well, I who cares? People were having fun at Red Bull Arena.
Yeah.
People apparently were having the fun at the bar you guys were at Friday night.
They were, in fact.
They had a blast.
some people were having, people are having fun all over the place. It's New York. It's the greatest city in the world.
The guy that offered us cocaine on the first day near Times Square, he seemed to having a great day.
Or at least he knew where the fun was.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought we needed to have more fun.
How did he make his approach?
It was pretty direct. Walk up, hey guys, need any coke, any weed? And we said no, and he said no, like cocaine. I loved the clarification.
I'm more of a Pepsi guy myself.
Right.
I don't know what to say about this. New York, man.
Yeah,
it's the best. It's the city that frequently stays awake.
Yes.
An eye-opening experience for me one time was I was just like kind of walking around Barcelona at night.
Mm-hmm.
And
as one does.
There were guys selling cans of beer for like 50 cents for a can. They were just holding 6-packs.
Nice.
And every so often I would just buy a beer, like a walk-in beer. But the first guy that I said no to, he immediately upsold to cocaine. And I was like eye-opening. I was like, oh, these guys aren't just like traveling beer salesmen. The beer is just something that they hold to pretend that they're not selling drugs.
The illegal beer sales is a front for illegal drug sales.
If you say no to the cocaine, what does he offer next?
You're right.
Is it like an escalating thing where eventually it's...
You get directed to the other guy across the street who's got the goods.
In Portugal, I think they have like a lot of those hard drugs decriminalized.
Yeah.
So people will openly just come up and try to sell to you on the street. Because you as a buyer, I don't know if this is right. This is not legal advice. My understanding is you as a buyer are kind of free and clear. It's just like the selling.
It's the selling at a certain volume gets in trouble. Yeah.
But like the people that live there, like they're tired of it.
Yeah, right.
So like,
I can imagine.
You see somebody, because like it was like several times someone tried to sell us drugs, and a Portuguese person, immediately like swarmed on the dealer. It was just like you get out, you're ruining the city, blah, blah,
right.
blah. And it's like, all right, take your.
Yeah.
Take your country back.
We're going to round up all the drug dealers and we're going to yell at them.
Yeah.
I do wonder sometimes about this. This is like an existential thing. So I have noticed over the course of my lifetime what I would consider to be the coarsening of the discourse in American society.
Ooh.
And what I mean by this is that it has become a lot more common, I feel. Maybe I'm wrong about this. It has become a lot more common, I feel, for people to just curse casually in open conversation.
Yes.
In a lot of places where that used to be frowned upon.
Yes.
Where your parents would tell you you have a vocabulary of a sailor or what have you. I don't know why sailors got this horrible reputation for talking, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But like we've become more comfortable over time with just casually dropping curse words in, our discourse. And there's certain aspects of this as well when it comes to like now it is way more common to smell people smoking marijuana when you're walking around just about anywhere.
Absolutely.
In America. I don't know that I'm ready for the America where it's normal to like walk into a Burger King and someone's just doing a rail, like not in the bathroom like a gentleman, but like right on the table outside as he's eating a Whopper or she's eating a Whopper.
I mean, we're not far off. Hasn't Oregon decriminalized most drugs? They've continued to try to do that. This sort of escalating decriminalization.
I just don't know that I'm ready for you're in a nice restaurant and everybody's doing a rail, doing a bump, and then the next table over someone's on mushrooms. Just I don't know. Maybe that means I'm getting old. But.
Being on mushrooms at a nice restaurant feels like a silly thing to do.
Right. It's somebody that is planned poorly.
You can just go to a bad restaurant. You're going to have a great time either way.
Right. You don't need the food to be all that good.
Right.
Like, if anything, like, certain drugs you could see as being like experience heightening situations.
Yeah, complimentary.
Right? Yeah. As working with a nice meal. I just don't think. I just feel like mushrooms would not be one of them.
Right.
Yeah. Also, the quality of the restaurant, it's just going to get worse the higher up you go. The experience.
Or like you go to a bad restaurant, the quality's going to get better the higher up you go.
That makes more sense.
You know what would have been? You know what would have been better on mushrooms? It was the game last night.
Kids, don't do drugs. And kids, if you're going to do drugs, do them responsibly and stay away from anything with a needle.
Yeah, don't do drugs. It's your parents did drugs. It's loser dork behavior. Don't be like your parents.
Don't be like your parents.
Your parents are dorks.
So I will say before we get to the game, because unfortunately we will have to talk about it. Gotta say the pregame experience, again, not to give up too much of the video, but we do need to talk about the fact that we pre-gamed with Auxilia 1.
Yes.
That was a blast. Carragher's bar is where they meet up. It was not clear to me, and another buddy of mine who was with us tried to look this up, and their website is super vague about this. It's not clear to me that Jamie Carragher owns the bar or not, or if it's just a weird obsession.
Somebody correct me, but I would guarantee you that Jamie Carragher does not own the bar.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put it this way. If Jamie Carragher did own the bar, I would expect it to be in a nicer spot. It's in the financial district, where it's like there is no cheap place to have a bar in the financial district.
Right.
But I would assume Carragher's would be on ground level and you wouldn't have to go downstairs to get to it.
It was huge, though. I don't know if you guys walked back there.
It was
the
really
dining
big.
room had another dining room off to the side.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was massive. But yeah, it was a good time. They had FCC match from earlier the year on the TV, so that was nice.
Yeah,
it was DC away. Yeah.
It's a better match than we ended up watching. We should have just stayed at the bar and watched that one.
Yep.
Watch old highlight clips of wins. The march.
There was a march. That's wild, right?
It was really, really fun. They're singing the songs, marching through New York City. It felt... There's a moment where we end up at the 9/11 memorial, which is also a train station where the chanting is happening. I did have a moment of like, should we be doing this? This feels...
Well, we weren't at to clarify, we weren't at the 9/11 memorial.
Well,
where it's the fountains and everything like that. Yeah. We were at the shopping mall that they built.
Yes.
To honor America with, mall. A monument to consumerism. But no, people were doing the chants. There were a lot of very confused New Yorkers and a lot of tourists that were very confused.
A lot of tourists taking videos of the march.
I would say that it was the tourists probably who were confused. For the New Yorkers, it's just one more group of people being annoying. It's just part of it.
Just how they roll.
Yeah. It then took the path out, and I will say, while sure it was a crowded train there and back, I have heard online, because this was my first experience going to New York Red Bull's arena or whatever, Red Bull Arena. I've heard online from New York fans that it is a pain to get to, that it is awful. That's why nobody goes to the games. I don't see any excuse. That wasn't awful. You could do that pretty easily, I would say.
It's much easier to get there than the Philadelphia Union Stadium.
Yeah.
Which the Union Stadium, it's basically you have to drive or take an Uber or cab.
Yeah, that's a problem.
There is like a train that gets you like a mile and a half
right
from there.
Yeah.
But this train at least takes you like
there.
It's there. Like you're at the same place people are parking if they're driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, the train station is only a 5-minute walk at most from Red Bull Arena. Now, where I would push back a little bit on you, Kev, is just this idea that it's easy to get there from where we were.
That's true.
In the financial district of Manhattan.
That's true.
I imagine if you were coming from further out in one of the different boroughs that it might be a little more annoying. But by a little more annoying, it's the East Coast. You don't get anywhere in under an hour around here. And you can probably be to Red Bull Arena from most places in the city in the 5 boroughs in probably under an hour.
Yeah. And that's what is silly to me because it's like, okay, where else would you put it? Like, if you put it at Times Square, it's going to take you still 45 minutes from almost anywhere else in the city to get to. Like,
right, and you'd have to run through all like the Elmos and the Sonic the Hedgehogs in costume. in order
like
to
there's
get
no ideal situation where suddenly everybody in New York is 15-minute ride away.
there. No,
I don't know.
it was fine. It was lovely to be able to go to a match, not to give ISIS credit for anything, but like it was lovely to be able to go to a match, consume alcohol, and not have to worry about how I'm getting home for the end of the night. That was very nice.
That was key. That was fun. I was shocked at the amount of surface parking that was there. Again, like assuming that this was a transit centered area of the country, that it felt like half of the people there drove to the stadium. That was a little shocking to me. Grayson, thoughts on the stadium itself, or at least a comparison to TQL Stadium?
Stadium was fine.
Yeah.
Like I get the comparisons between TQL Stadium and Red Bull Arena.
Yeah.
But it's very clearly like an older stadium, earlier model. The concourse was tighter.
Yeah, the main concourse is smaller.
It's a little weird to get into because the entrance takes you to like kind of like an outer concourse, then you have to go up to like the main area, versus TQL you can enter right onto the main concourse.
Yeah.
And the entrance at TQL is like nicer, like the stairs going up.
The stairs going up and the exterior is nicer. I didn't realize this because I've always known Red Bull Arena to be like a silver, what I assumed a metallic shell all the way around, and it's just a gray fabric all the way around. So it's not necessarily aesthetically pleasing when you walk up. Not that you need a stadium to be beautiful, but you can see where you could upgrade that pretty easily. But yeah, it did have sort of a weird like hybrid of map-free stadium and TQL stadium. Because yeah, when you walk in on the main gate, you're on a sort of like half gravel, half asphalt ring around the stadium where there are some food vendors, and then you have to walk up what look like, old map-free stadium stairs up to a narrow concourse.
You could tell it was from an era in MLS where they were looking to cut every corner imaginable.
Yes.
In order to make cost. Because
but didn't cut the actual corners. So I appreciate
No, they did that. They had corners, which was, somehow a lesson we lost when we built stadiums in Nashville, Austin, and Columbus as well for this league. No, but like you could tell, like you could see the parts where they're looking to save money. At the end of the day, it's still that steel high school stadium construction.
Yeah.
Where you hear people going up the stairs, you look up and it's metal above you instead of concrete, where it feels a little more substantive. The bottom ring around the stadium, you get the sense they had bigger plans for that, and just sort of they're doing it, they're filling it in as they go. Like there was a couple of those temporary trucks they had parked for merch.
Yeah.
They had tried to make like a bar area down there to chill pregame. They had a DJ spinning tunes that absolutely no one
except for our cameraman.
Yeah, our cameraman jumped in there, got after it. It's fine. I don't think it's as nice as most of the other stadiums I've been to. Like Columbus, it's not nowhere near as nice as Columbus's stadium.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near as nice as TQL. But I would be willing to bet that at the time it was revolutionary, just because what it was being compared to were stadiums like map free.
Well, especially on the East Coast, you had New England Revolution still in Gillette Stadium, RFK for DC United. So yeah, like it was mind blowing when it showed up.
Yeah, it was basically comparable to like Philly.
Yeah,
for me, it's on. I've been to TQL, Lower.com, Allianz in Minnesota.
Yeah,
Philly and Red Bull, and I'd put like Philly and Red Bull as kind of well behind those other three.
Yeah. Yeah. No cup holders. And we had
no
decent
cup holders.
seats, so that was weird. Like it wasn't like a upper
No
bleacher
armrest
thing
either. Did you notice that?
That was weird too.
That there was nothing dividing you from your seatmate.
Yeah. Just like little tiny things like that start to add up. The thing that was sort of driving me nuts, and I don't know, maybe this is a dumb complaint, but they had retired Bradley Wright Phillips number 99. It was up on their big banner of all the Supporter Shield victories and the NWSL teams victories and things like that. There was just a badge for 99, which is Bradley Wright Phillips' number, club legend. But then later on down the line of accolades is the
legends,
like the legends, club legends, and then it was just Luis Robles. So it's like, did like two different ownership groups decide different ways to honor the players? Does Luis Robles, he's in the Ring of Honor, but he doesn't get his number retired. But Bradley Wright Phillips still needs to pad his resume to get into the Ring of Honor, but his number is good now.
I mean, maybe he, just by the fact that he picked 99, they felt they were safe retiring that one, that no one would ever want it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I assume Robles had number 1, right? So you're probably not going to take that away from every keeper, but just add Wright Phillips to the Ring of Honor and decide that's, or maybe it's too many letters. Like they're cheaping out on the number of letters.
So my complaint, or not complaint, or observation really was, it felt like that the 3 supporter shields they were very prominently honored on that same thing. And then but the Gotham FC's NWSL Cup that they won last year,
smushed in the corner.
Just like in the corner, like real small. And I don't know what I don't know. Maybe I'm being unreasonable or just not thinking about it the right way, but it felt like it was given like a much, much lower prominence than the Red Bull accolades.
Still bigger than the NYCFC MLS Cup banner that they unveiled, though, I think.
I haven't seen that one in person, so
I hope for their fans' sake, NYCFC produces whatever is the largest display of a championship in their new stadium, just to right that wrong. Look around the league, who's got the largest one, make it a little bit bigger than that.
Like note that in like the press release for the stadium. Largest championship banner in league.
It's all you need to do. You just put that little line of text in the PR pamphlet, you're good.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, I mean, the stadium was okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Egress, easy.
It was nice.
Nice. Lots of, like you said, lots of blacktop parking.
Way more, I'll say, unauthorized vendors leading up to the stadium.
Yeah, I was trying to convince you to buy a bootleg jersey to wear in, but you wouldn't listen to me.
People selling churros, which looked delicious.
People selling churros, people selling fruit cups.
The fruit cups looked really good. I wonder
a
what
big New York City thing now. Like wherever you go around here, there's always somebody selling a fruit cup.
Yeah, they seem to have gotten bigger in New York in recent years. I first saw that in LA some years ago, and it was like these fruit vendors. They have the tahine, and they have they have a hot sauce, and they got different spices and stuff, and it's so good. It's so good. I make them at home. Yeah, because they don't do them in Cincinnati anywhere.
Right.
But
you can buy that and buy a Messi jersey here. You can have yourself a day.
Ooh. Should we set up a fruit cup stand outside of TQL Stadium?
A fruit cup and bootleg jersey stand outside of TQL Stadium. Pay for our next trip.
Yeah.
We sell the Post t-shirts and Messi shirts.
I remember there was like earlier this year or last year, there was some right-wing lady taking a video of a lot of of a group of like fruit vendors selling the fruit cups, and she's like look what's happening to our beautiful clean city.
There were like people selling things,
and I'm like, I'm like, that looks great.
Yeah.
That looks so good.
No, what's funny about it is
I want to go to the garden of fruit cup vendors,
right.
please.
Like you get the fruit cup vendors. Look how they're ruining our city by selling fruit. Like pan the camera over, and there's the dude selling the hot dog cart right there
Right.
that has failed inspection 15 times.
Yeah, I'll take the fruit cup thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that feels like
I'm gonna
positive
go over and have a
direction.
good old fashioned American hot dog. That's what we really need more of in our country.
Oh God. So it was fun getting in. And it was at about that time when we walked in where we saw the lineup finally. And it was a little different. It wasn't quite what we were expecting. Is there anything else about the pregame we need to touch on before we dive in
get
here?
right into it.
Now let's talk about the 2024 touring Leonard Skinner lineup that we have, that we saw last night.
Technically, some of these guys are on the team. Okay, so it was Roman Celentano in goal, Kip Keller on the left, Ian Murphy in the center, and DeAndre Yedlin as your right center backs. It was Brett Halsey as your left wing back, Yuya Kubo as the right wing back, his first of 3 positions on the night. Buka, Wobodo, and Valenzuela made up the midfield trio, with Valenzuela ahead of the other 2. Kevin Kelsey and Sergio Santos up top, which means there was no Assad, there was no Orishano, and unfortunately there was no Lucho to start this one off. Grayson, were we wrong to expect Lucho to start? Did we expect Lucho to start?
Since they weren't holding him out, I kind of expected him to start.
Yeah.
I am curious about the decision to sit both Lucho and Luca.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I know they have the All-Star game coming up, but like Luca's got a clean bill of health, and then he's going to get, almost 2 weeks off of competitive matches. So it didn't feel like it was necessary rotation.
Yeah.
But maybe the thinking was, well, we'll bring Lucho on at halftime and Luca on at halftime. They'll both be fresh, and they'll be able to run at them for a half together. The back line was the back line.
Yeah.
I don't know that there were a lot of options there. I mean, you could say Luca, you could say Assad, but again, I think generally when we've liked Assad, it's been with Lucho on the field as somebody that Lucho can play off of.
Right.
So I don't really feel like starting Halsey there instead of Assad feels like that big of a deal.
Yeah, especially pre-game, and then actually turns out that first half I thought Halsey was the best player on our team.
Yeah, it's
which is not a good thing, to be clear. But
nobody looked good.
No,
Halsey at least had a couple of times. He was dribbling at defenders.
Yeah,
right, making a little bit of forward progress. I mean, the defense was as bad as you would expect, and that required a very strong performance by the players ahead of them.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of those guys seemed a little sloppy. Dotto, I think, maybe showed that he's not somebody that can really run the offense right now.
Yeah.
And then it kind of put into perspective how big of a mess the striker room currently is.
Yeah.
Because you started Santos and Kelsey, you had Bupenza and Baird on the bench. It's a mess of a position.
Yeah.
I think the overriding thing that I think looking at this game and watching this game last night is that we had this conversation about A players, B players, and C players last week. And my overriding thought is that there's a lot of players on this team that I don't want to say are bad players, because in some cases they're players that I think it's more accurate to say I'm disappointed in where they are in terms of where I expected them to be on this team. And players I'm thinking of are players like Brett Halsey, where I was a lot, I'll say, more lukewarm on Brett Halsey than some people in this room were.
Hey, whoa.
Mr. In Ink.
Hey, he is starting games in the middle of the season for a team that was previously to last week in first place.
Yeah, but like you watch him play and it's like, it's not there. And I was expecting it to be further along maybe than it is right now in terms of getting more out of him. Same thing with Dotto. Like Dotto has given this team a lot of minutes this year. And the one thing is that everyone was said was that, oh, he's a young player. He's going to get better as he gets more minutes. He's gotten more minutes. And I don't know that I would say Dotto is a better player now than he was this time a year ago. I think Dotto is just Dotto at this point. And there was this idea that maybe he would be, the heir apparent to Lucho when Lucho can't go, that he's his backup, that he's the understudy at the position. He's just not. He's not very good at it. And we've seen him play up top as a striker, not very good up there. If you need a reserve, he'll run out there and he'll hustle and he'll play, but it just hasn't been very good. I think the same thing is true with Kip Keller, is that I just don't think he is. I think we're seeing why Austin was very okay letting him go for a 3rd round pick, and that the more he has played, the more his shortcomings have been woefully exposed. I mean, he's almost directly responsible for one of the goals in this match, the first one that New York scores.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ian Murphy, another guy. I like Ian. I think there's talent there, but I don't know that Ian is getting better right now. I think Ian is just who Ian is at this point. And so when you add all that together, it's a lot of players playing right now who just don't have another gear to give this team when this team needs the extra gear to stay into a game.
Yeah. So the way I look at it, I'd push back on that, because Murphy is very good for this league. He's not an elite defender by any means. So he's very good for this league, and you've surrounded him with Kip Keller, who is not nearly as good as we wanted him to be, as I wanted him to be, as I know him to be. And he's got a makeshift back line back there. Murphy does, that he is being asked to do a lot more now without Robinson and Miazga than he was going to be expected to earlier this year. Like he's running the center of the center back pairing. He's got a guy to his right, DeAndre Yedlin, who's absolutely a veteran, but is not a center back as well. Is running all over the field, making plays, but also playing wildly out of position at times to make those plays. And with Dotto, I mean, the thing is with Dotto, he's 19 years old. Like, in 5 years, he'll be the same age as Orishano and Halsey, right? Like he's got a long time before he's at that point in his career. And if he's already able to do this, and he's not an MLS All-Star. He's not going to win you games by himself, but he doesn't look so woefully out of place on this roster, on this team in an MLS game that he's not going to get better maybe this season, but him getting regular starting minutes for one of the best teams in MLS is probably going to pay dividends in the next couple of years.
I'd hope. But what we're left with right now is we're left with a team that just is, there's not a lot there right now, especially when Luca and Lucho are on the bench. You look at the starting lineup and it's like, I thought they might be able to get a tie out of this, but you don't look at this starting lineup and feel confident they're going to score goals.
Yeah.
And you don't look at this starting lineup and you think they're going to prevent goals either.
Yeah. I think
and it turns out.
They let quite a few in. I don't want to go beat for beat through this game. It's probably easier to almost talk through player by player. And I think
real quick.
Oh, please.
On the Dotto point, it reminded me of, so we've kind of beaten up on this guy a little bit at the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Union journalist.
Yeah.
But there was this weird tweet I saw last month from him about Quinn Sullivan. Quinn Sullivan's a 2004 birth year, just like Dotto.
Yeah.
And the goalkeeper wrote, Quinn Sullivan is a midfielder, not a forward, but Jim Curtin keeps playing him as a forward. Sullivan can play forward, but if he's going to stay there, it's time to judge a forward with 2 goals and 6 assists this year. And it's like, if we had a 2004 forward with 2 goals and 6 assists even, right?
Yeah.
We'd be pretty happy with that out of Dotto.
That would be nice.
We have not gotten that.
No.
And other teams apparently view that out of a 20-year-old as a failure, like a failure level of production, which is better than most of our our entire forward room except for Kevin Kelsey.
Oh yeah. yeah.
Anyway,
that is funny. I mean, he passes the eye test for me though, and I'll assume the game will come to him. I mean, hard not to think back to Nick Marcanic, who never looked terrible for this team, but wasn't a prolific scorer. Goes down to USL. It's very clear he's better than the USL level. I don't know that necessarily makes him MLS level, but in baseball, these are the quadruple A guys.
Yeah, you're Brandon Larsons for your old Reds heads there.
Just too good for the AAA, but maybe not quite as good for the MLS level. But I mean, I'm just going to come back to he's 19 years old. I'll judge him in a couple of years, as to whether or not he should stay or not. But right now, there's no reason to think he can't continue to improve and just get more minutes there. But it's funny, Grayson, you mentioned at the goalkeeper, not to talk about Tannenwald, but I do want to direct your attention to the goalkeeping position for FC Cincinnati. The backline has been terrible. It's been makeshift. It's performed poorly, and I think expected to perform poorly. I do think that Roman Celentano hasn't covered himself in glory over the last 3 or 4 matches in particular.
He's in a tough spot. I feel bad for Roman because when you look at what Roman was asked to do on this team, you start this year with Matt Miazga and Miles Robinson, Ian Murphy. It's a strong, big back line.
Yeah, one of the best in the league. Yep.
And so what Roman's role is, really, stay out of their way.
Mm-hmm.
Stay out of their way. Stay at home. They're going to get to it. And if you try to be a hero, the most likely outcome is you're going to get decked by one of the 3 of them coming in to make a play.
Right.
And over the course of a couple of weeks, that shifted to a lot of players that don't have that same skill set.
Yeah.
That aren't that talented. I mean, hell, one of your center backs is 5'8" now. That's not great.
That's not.
And so well. I think that where Roman is that he has played a certain way this entire year. And I don't think to sort of be critical of him, I don't know that he has realized or has gotten comfortable with the idea that he needs to be more active and more involved in running the show on the back line. And that maybe whereas in the past, he could have just allowed the game to come to him and left room for the center backs to defend. I think that there's the criticism of Roman that I think is valid over the last couple of weeks is that he hasn't been as active getting out to make plays. I think that the red card on Miles Robinson, I think that maybe Roman could have done more to come out and clean up the long ball.
There were a couple of moments last night where he hesitated or didn't come out at all. That led to good scoring opportunities. I can't think of any of the goals that were directly his his fault, but you still see those hesitant moments, those moments where if he's calling for the ball, the other guys aren't listening, or he's not calling for it. And either way, that's a problem. But yeah, I mean,
the first two goals. The first goal is a breakaway where Keller loses track of his man.
Yeah, Yedlin screaming at him to go find his man.
Go find the runner, and because no one goes with the runner off the ball, it's a tap-in goal. The second goal, look, I think it's always a bad look when the keeper is rooted to the spot, but it was a strike from 5 yards outside of the box that bends back into the upper corner. It's the kind of goal that gets scored against us and we never score.
Yeah.
But the fault there is on nobody stepping up to contest the shot.
Right.
It's not on Roman there. So it's like when we're being critical of Roman, it's just in the abstract of he has not looked like the old Roman Celentano these last few weeks. But I think I would hesitate to say that there was anything in this match that Roman could have done better to make the scoreline better.
I think that's fair. Grayson, do you have any Roman Celentano thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think he's not decisive enough to come out, but he's got a terrible defense in front of him right now.
Yeah.
And it's not his fault that he has a terrible defense in front of him.
Yeah.
Nobody's really at fault for Matt's injury.
San Jose groundkeeping crew, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't begrudge Miles going to the Olympics. But I hope he's having a good time while the season is falling apart.
Yeah.
And not having a center back ready to go day one of the window. I mean, the window fell in like kind of an awkward time, being on like a Thursday, but you've seen them have guys in training with the team ahead of windows before.
Yeah, other teams do this all the time.
Other teams do it. And so, it's not, it's not the easiest thing in the world to get a deal done, especially when the people you're negotiating with know how badly you need a deal done.
Yeah.
And given that there's difficulties with how much more you can offer to get something across the line with the season-ending injury budget restriction, with other budget restrictions around the team. But, might there have been like Columbus traded for AZ Jackson in June.
Yeah.
So like, was there not a trade within the league for a usable center back that you could have, had in the team and available this weekend?
Yeah.
I obviously don't know the answer to that. There's no way anybody other than the people who would be making that deal
would
know the answer to that. But I'm just curious, and it'll be interesting to see what happens this window.
Yeah. Hopefully something quick.
Hopefully, yeah.
But hopefully something quick. But look, we know that they're negotiating with this Nigerian center back,
Awazim.
I get it. You can't in this league, like Grayson said, you can't go and throw an extra $1 million in to sweeten the deal and make something move faster. It's a flaw with this league, quite honestly.
Yep.
That it is so punitive on the salary cap that it negates the ability of teams to get better quickly when they have issues like an injury, where it's like, I somehow have to make this peg fit inside the salary hole that has been vacated by Matt Miazga, which, it's tough because he is being paid what he's being paid because he's an American. He wanted to come back from being overseas for a number of years as part of the Chelsea loan army. And he took the money he took for that circumstance. You're trying to replicate that situation. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be down on Albright, But I'll just say that it's tough that you can make a deal for a center back or for any player ahead of the window and have that person training, have the paperwork done, have everything completed. If they had moved faster with their target and gotten a deal done, there's no reason to believe why I'm going to forget his name each time.
Awazim.
I want to say Awuzi, but it's like
Chidozie Awazim.
Yeah.
Chidozie Awazim. There's no reason to believe Awazim couldn't have played this game if they would have gotten the deal done ahead of the window.
Yeah.
If they would have had his paperwork done, if he would have been training with the team for a week.
Yeah.
Bupenza appeared the first game that he was available last year.
It was that Nashville game right before Leagues Cup.
Yeah, I mean,
Bodo did too. Well, Bodo, when he made his transfer abroad, he came in and he was playing a week later. Yedlin started like 2 days after the trade.
Yeah, I wonder if.
But the reason I brought up Bupenza is because Bupenza is somebody who they brought over before the window was open, and then he played a couple days after the window opened, and he didn't start, but he also wasn't in a position that was like a big need at the time. Yeah. Right. It wasn't like they were desperate to have a starting level forward because they still had Brandon Vasquez on the team.
So looking at how this team has played the last couple of matches now, three match losing streak. I'm open to debates as to whether or not this is the first 3-match losing streak in Pat Noonan's career or not, given that he was not the manager.
I guess it's technically not.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't the manager.
It's a big Mike Krzyzewski move when you know things are bad. All of a sudden have an ailment or an illness that keeps you out for a while to keep your winning streak intact or keep your record intact.
But like they're not going to if they don't get a center back in this week, they're not going to get out of group in Leagues Cup.
Probably not.
So if you don't,
I don't care.
Right, but then you go like getting out of Leagues Cup kind of early last year did seem to kill the team's momentum.
I wouldn't mind the momentum we have now being killed though.
Right.
Yes, but also getting Awazim and whoever else you might be able to bring in the next couple of weeks, getting them some experience playing in competitive games that don't really matter with their teammates. There's value to that. I'd feel better having them getting a few games in Leagues Cup than not playing for a month and the first game back is at Miami.
If they get dumped out of Leagues Cup early, tell Carl to open the checkbook and pay Louisville City to come up here and do a friendly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Or fly the team over to the UK and play a competitive friendly against some of the Premier League teams that are training early. Their season doesn't start for another couple of weeks. Like there are ways that you can get minutes with teams competitively to try and help integrate players. And I'm not worried about that as much. Do I want to advance at a group in Leagues Cup? Yeah, obviously I want to do that. But I'm not as worried about that as I am with they need the takeaway from last night's game for me is that this team is not a center back and a striker away from problems being solved.
See, that's where I wanted to go. If we had, let's say, Awazim and mysterious DP level striker that's not Bupenza, do we see this team not performing the way it did over the last 3 matches? Or
I think the team performs better.
Yeah.
That team, I would say, almost certainly beats Chicago.
Yeah.
Who was before Chicago? Charlotte?
Maybe grinds out a result against Charlotte.
Last night was last night, but also a third center back lets you move Kip to the right, Ian to the left, potentially. It lets you put Yedlin out at right. And then Kubo now is either he's playing left wing back, or my preference in that situation is you bring him back up to the top of the midfield or next to Kevin Kelsey at striker. So that's improved at a minimum, like just that one center back has improved at a minimum 3 positions, but I would say arguably 5.
Yeah.
Because Ian would be a better left center back than Keller. Keller may be a better right center back than Yedlin, but certainly Keller at right center back and Yedlin at right wing back
That's an upgrade.
is an upgrade. Whoever is presumably an upgrade at middle center back over Ian, and then Kubo would be an upgrade over Santos or Dado up top. So like it's one player, but it's not one position because of how the team currently is. And then you add in the prospect of, the next league match, it's hopefully not just one center back, even if they don't add anybody else, because it's also Miles coming back.
Right.
So you get
I don't
Murphy.
think Miles is ever going to come back. Like, it feels like Miles has been gone for so long.
You might be right. Yeah.
Maybe he really performs at the Olympics and gets a transfer to Europe.
How
many games has Miles played in the last calendar 3 months? It feels like 4 at most.
It might be 3 or 4.
He's played one since like May. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, because he was gone for the Copa for like forever.
He was back for a couple of games when they got knocked out, right?
Yeah, he came back for 2 or 3 games.
And then picked a red card.
Yeah.
Or no, was that just...
They just won.
It was just one, because then...
I can look this up instead of just guessing.
But there's intuitively, while you look this up, if you told me Miles Robinson is not playing another game for FC Cincinnati this year, I'd be inclined to believe you, just because I don't even believe he was real at the start of the year at this point.
It does have a feel of truth to it that I don't like.
So going back to May 30th, that'll be the day after he played at Nashville. He has played 3 times since then. DC United, Inter Miami, both wins, and then of course his red card performance against Charlotte.
Yeah, so this is also funny. Well, funny.
Funny. That's kind of funny.
So Weeby had that tweet that, like, since the San Jose game, FC Cincinnati has, since Miazga's injury against San Jose, FC Cincinnati has been giving up like 2 goals a game versus 1 goal a game when they had him.
Yeah.
And or per 90, or I don't know. I don't remember the exact stat. But the thing to add on to that is Miles played in only 3 of those 7, 3 of those 8, because Miles was with the national team for San Jose.
Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 game stretch where the team was giving up a lot of goals per game, and Miles played in only 3 of them.
2 of them were pretty good wins.
2 of them were good wins, and one of them was the game where he got
kicked out.
Got a red card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe he's coming back.
He's gonna Shaqiri us, or he goes to Europe and never comes back.
I don't know what it will be. Like, he'll be like some horrible ailment that will require him to quarantine in France, or he'll get really into winemaking and just stay in Bordeaux or something like that.
Maybe he has such a strong Olympics that some team in League One comes in and just buys him, and he's like, well, this is my European deal.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Yeah. You told me I could go when I got one of these.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, it is. I mean, at the end of the day, we had arguably the 2 best center backs in the league earlier this year. And
now we have
I think Miles, I think Matt Miazga was inarguably, I know.
Yeah.
This is controversial. I would say he was inarguably the best center back in MLS.
According to the accolades handed out at the end of the year, I'd say yes.
Right. But like, you look at how the defense has performed with just him versus with just Miles and depth pieces.
Yeah.
I know that he's not in the national team picture for whatever reason. He's not the highest paid.
Yeah.
So I was actually reminded recently that they took freaking Aaron Long to the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so that's very funny.
That's so funny.
It's insulting. I feel like that is fueling a rage that burns deep inside Matt Miazga.
So, but anyway, I do think Miazga is inarguably the best center back in the league. Maybe this is for the next segment or whatever, but that's why I also think, like, people say, well, that's why I think it's even more important that you get a good DP forward in, because you're not going to you can't be thinking, like, just because we're bringing in like a high dollar striker or high dollar center back from Europe, that it's going to replace Matt's the best center back in the league.
Right.
So just because, like, we need to get better at that position than we currently are.
Yeah.
But it strikes me as foolish to assume, and I'm not saying anybody's doing this, but like, if you were just to assume, well, we can replace an equal budget hit center back and slot him back in. When Miles is back, it's basically the same as before Matt's injury. It's not.
Yeah.
It's most likely not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm enjoying right now is that I'm probably a lot less fired up about this than I would have been, because I'm lounging as I record. I should record more often, just lounging
on the therapist couch.
Just talking some problems through is all we're doing right now. I love it. The other thing too I want to note before we move on from this lineup is
we need to move on from this game.
Because we were going through the game sort of position by the player's position by position here. Look, we need to talk a little bit about Sergio Santos.
Okay.
Why?
It's not clear to me why he continues to get minutes for this team. I can understand him being on the roster to some degree. I don't know why he's getting minutes. Is he that much better at striker than London Agedu is at center back? that London, who is a center back, a position of need, will not ever see the field. He's merely a seat filler. Whereas Santos is a terrible striker, cannot score goals, is constantly getting starts, regular minutes. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Like, I don't think Corey Baird is good. I would have still started Corey Baird this game.
Right. The goal scorer, Corey Baird.
Sure.
Well, the other thing is, like, they finally brought in Bupenza, with some run.
Yeah.
He did get the assist on the Baird goal.
Him and Lucha passed back and forth to each other. He and Lucha did
pass back and forth to each other a couple of times. Is Aaron Bupenza just on this team now? Is this our DP striker signing?
Oh, Jesus. There's not been a whisper out there for him going anywhere.
Let's push that conversation to segment 2. I will say this on Bupenza. Man does not look match fit still, to my eye.
Yeah.
This was the closest I've seen him in a while, and the longest I've seen him in a while. I'm just going to say it does not look like Aaron Bupenza is good for 90 minutes out there.
Didn't look the part. Well, let's jump over to part 2.
They lost. It sucks.
It sucks.
That's a bummer. It sucks to go out.
I'd like to see some lines on all those offsides that were called, but we didn't have the angle for it. Just the way the ball was played, it didn't seem like it was offside as often as it was called.
Lucho was called for offsides to himself, I believe. Yeah. I don't understand how that happened.
Has to be it. That was rough.
Anyway,
let's bury this game in the ground. We'll go over to part 2. We'll talk some big picture stuff, and then part 3 we'll hit up some Patreon questions.
Before we get to the next part of the episode, I do want to tell you about our sponsor, Cincy Shirts, which is now the home of official Cincy postcast merch. This is so exciting, and we really never thought we'd see the day, and yet here we are, alive and actually seeing the day. Cincy Shirts has been with FC Cincinnati from the beginning. They've been with The Post for ever now, from the beginning, our very first sponsor. So happy to have them along for this journey. There are 6, count them, 6 different shirts available at this time of recording that you can purchase from their website for real life. This is, again, a real thing that you can do. As I'm sure you know, but I will remind you, they have 3 retail locations, including Fort Mitchell, Loveland, and Oakley Hyde Park, where in those locations, they can print on demand. If they don't have the size of something you want, you can print on demand. I assume this means postcast shirts as well. Give it a shot. Let me know how that goes. If for some reason you do not want to purchase one of our shirts, I won't hold it against you. You can use promo code ThePostCincy. That's all one word, all caps, ThePostCincy for 10% off your next order. This also works with Postcast shirts, so please don't pay full price. Make sure you knock 10% off for yourself on that one. Spread the code far and wide, I guess, and let them know about Cincy shirts and let them know about the podcast while you're at it. Otherwise, the code doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But again, a huge thank you to Cincy Shirts for sponsoring this episode and so many before it. And if I do see you out there with a t-shirt, I will be embarrassed for you, but I will probably give you a high five and tell you well done. So again, thank you to Cincy Shirts. Thank you to you for buying shirts and using that promo code.
All right, we're back. The Red Bull match is in the rear view mirror. We're looking ahead, and
there's not a lot to look forward to, though, because this team doesn't play for another 2 fucking weeks.
That's the thing. Look, we've always been a Leagues Cup podcast.
We have.
We were early on that bandwagon. We might be the only people ever on that bandwagon.
True story.
But I do think, and we did talk about this a little bit yesterday, I do think it is possible to be a pro Leagues Cup podcast, but still criticize where Leagues Cup falls in the calendar. And it is super frustrating that the season is interrupted like this. And given that it's only a 2-match group stage for teams, that they could potentially go a month and a half, what feels like 2 months, having only played 2 or 3 competitive games. It's a real disappointment that they got to do it this way. I think if I was to throw a suggestion out there, I'd run Leagues Cup during the World Cup or Euros or Copa America window. Just sort of make it a fun marketing thing in the summer. Then the league can take its traditional summer break that a lot of other leagues do. But I don't know. This is stupid. I hate this.
I hate this. I hate the fact that we're sitting here recording on a Sunday morning. Our next FC Cincinnati match will not be for 2 weeks for no reason. The next competitive game that actually matters in the standings for FC Cincinnati is not until like the end of August?
August 24th or 25th against Miami.
August 24th.
August 24th.
So it is going to be over a month until this team plays a game that matters again. That's
sweet. Asterisk because of Leagues Cup, but I agree.
Yeah. But that's absurd. You're putting the season on pause for a marketing gimmick. The better time to play this, like I said, is get rid of MLS Cup playoffs and make Leagues Cup the de facto MLS playoffs. Award the Supporters Shield for the team that wins MLS on the regular season. Eliminate MLS Cup and to make teams play for Leagues Cup, and your playoff seeding is what enters you into Leagues Cup at the end of the year.
Yeah,
it makes way more sense.
Especially if you pushed it, because again, you want to include Mexico here. You push it to where Mexico's playing in between their leagues as well, so it still ends up being a December-January matchup, but then it lets you host all of the games in neutral sites across the US and Mexico. So you could put matches, in Texas, Arizona, Southern California, and Monterrey, Mexico City, Tijuana, and do like a proper 3 sites in the US, 3 sites in Mexico, World Cup style thing, have the final at the Rose Bowl or something and have a blast with it.
Yeah, you could make it like a thing, like an actual capital T thing. You could even run Leagues Cup every other year. Run Leagues Cup every other year, run MLS Cup playoffs, and when you're not running Leagues Cup, I don't know. Just doing it here is the worst of all possible times because you are just burning daylight. And this is now the reason why MLS Cup playoffs stretch all the way until December and why the season goes on forever. My wife is just ready to file paperwork over how long the soccer season goes at this point.
It is frustrating, too, that there's only 9 matches left in the regular season.
Yeah.
So I will say the one thing I do enjoy is that post Leagues Cup, it feels like the league is in a dead sprint to the end where every match seems to matter a little bit more. Just because it's been a while since the league had been playing and everybody sort of picks it back up.
Right. It's like, oh, yeah, MLS is happening. MLS is back.
Yeah.
Bring back that moniker.
That's what I'm saying. You could have a lot of fun.
Like
with
the 9 match days is the MLS is back stretch run.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was to pick up on a point. I think I forget which one he made it earlier a second ago. Leagues Cup killed our momentum last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all right.
I'm very happy that Leagues Cup is killing our momentum this time around. Maybe we're looking at this all wrong, and this is really coming at the best possible time for FC Cincinnati. If you look at the roster right now, if they were playing matches between now and the 24th of August, they're a good bet to lose the majority of those matches at this point, I would think.
Yeah, we're kind of doing the Columbus thing from last year, which is they were performing okay. And then post Leagues Cup, they made a couple of key transfers and they turned on the Jets to finish the year. I don't mind us doing that. That sounds fun. And we have said in the past, it's MLS Cup or bust. So to live and die by the Shield standings isn't necessary.
They got us for a couple of weeks, though.
Yeah.
They got us talking about the Shield for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
Miami looks like they're just going to run away with it. Nobody else is going to be able to keep pace, I don't think. Maybe LAFC can whoop up on a weaker Western
Columbus.
Conference.
Watch out for Columbus.
Dude, they drew and lost their last 2 games. If they've got their full roster, I don't think they've got a single piece missing.
I think Columbus has an open DP spot.
Yeah. So good.
They might add.
Do we?
They might add a DP. Well, so that's the thing I was thinking of with kind of alluding to the last segment is like, yeah, we're gonna like adding a new center back to replace Miazga.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't even get you to where you started the season.
Yeah.
On the quality of the roster. And so like we are going to be.
Well, who else are they down? You say at the start of the season, quality of the roster.
Like I don't think that player is going to be as good as Miazga.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
So you have to like this team is going to have to do what feels like pretty significant work.
Yeah.
Just to get to like being as good as they were to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
And the teams that are currently with them or a little ahead of them are going to be adding.
Right.
So it's like we're going to get it back up to where we started, hopefully.
Kinda. Yeah.
But how are they going to keep pace with LAFC bringing in Giroud?
Right.
With Miami doing whatever Miami figures out to do, with Columbus adding a designated player.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And not for nothing, Colorado and RSL, I think, are adding pieces. They're up there. Galaxy's surging. It's gonna be
what
tough.
they need.
The Galaxy just overtook us in the Shield standings.
Galaxy did?
Yeah, but they've played one more game than we have.
They played one more game, and I think they're 2 points ahead.
I think they're 1 point ahead, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The answer is with this team is they absolutely, we've said this, we're not saying anything that we don't already know, we haven't already said. They absolutely have to get rid of Aaron Bupenza this window. This is a rip the Band-Aid off thing. Like you either need to find a sale spot for Aaron Bupenza. And I think like Grayson said earlier, not even a whiff of a rumor on a Bupenza transfer. There was some early stuff back after he had his unfortunate encounter with a local amateur athlete that I guess pro got to get paid.
Yeah.
But there were some hints that maybe the Turkish league, there were some teams looking around him. There were some ties maybe to Galatasaray, which always felt a little off.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they got to get him out of the building. Like, they've got to get him out of the building. And if that means they have to take a contract buyout on him, they still have that for the year that they can use.
Yeah.
If they got to take a contract buyout to get the DP spot back open, I do not think this team can succeed given the defensive weaknesses that they've endured. I don't think this team can succeed if they don't bring in somebody. It doesn't have to be a striker, but somebody as a designated player.
Yeah.
We were talking about this a little bit on the subway yesterday when the news came out that Diego Gomez from Miami was potentially going to Brighton.
Yeah.
And the different possibilities based on deal structure of what that might open up for Miami. But about how Miami's ownership has been quick and aggressive in buying players out.
Yep.
And adding the second whoever got put on season-ending injury.
Yep.
They brought in a high-priced U22.
Yeah, very high
to
price.
replace him. And then they've just said, we're going to figure this stuff out later. There's going to be guys going out, but every available opportunity to get roster flexibility, to replace guys, to bring in new guys, to push the limits and probably exceed the limits of the roster of the roster rules. But I can't imagine Miami's ownership having Aaron Bupenza sitting on that DP spot this long.
Yeah.
I just can't. And they're probably one of one in
Miami, you mean?
Miami is probably one of one in how aggressive and willing to spend that ownership is. And FC Cincinnati has been on the more aggressive side of the league for sure.
Yeah.
But I would just say the team has a very clear championship window that includes probably next season.
Yeah.
After that, things get a lot more hazy.
Yeah.
And if you're confident in your ability just to have enough continuity and consistency that as you churn, as players go, you can replace them, you can maintain that level. But based on who's under contract right now, really, I am thinking about it as this season and next season are extremely important to add to extremely wide open opportunities to add to the trophy case. And so I just don't want this window to not hit its potential.
Yeah. And these moves have to be for now. If that window is this year and next year, which I agree with you. Thinking on Bupenza and the buyout, he's only got a guaranteed contract through next year. So you'd have the remainder of this season and next season. He's making what, $1.5-2 million?
About $2 million, I think, like 1.8.
I think just under 2, I think.
Okay. So you're looking at potentially $3 million for the buyout. If they're targeting a $10 million striker transfer fee and salary, surely they can just find a $7 million striker and roll in the sunk cost of Bupenza into the overall thought.
So if let's say they sold him for like $1 million,
right?
That's a $4 to $5 million benefit.
Yeah.
Right. Versus buying him out, because if you buy him out, you also give up the potential to recoup any portion of the transfer fee.
Yeah.
Which, not my money.
Right.
But
especially
but
DP money.
That's got to be part of the thinking. Even if you can find somebody that he's willing to go to on a free.
Yeah, like a mutual
before
term.
you buy him out. As long as you're not paying him any salary compensation moving forward, you can still get him off your books.
Yeah.
And so that also saves you that $3 to $4 million.
But it's got to go. It's got to happen. like at this point, they played him 30 minutes last night. He's not starting. He is a drag on the roster at this point. And I don't care what else you want to say about Aaron, whether you like him, whether you don't like him. It's time.
It's the problem is he's a designated player.
Yeah.
If he was on Corey Baird or even Sergio Santos's salary or roster spot,
It'd be frustrating, but you could deal with it.
I mean, we are dealing with it with Santos,
Right?
like literally.
Yeah,
and I think Bopenza right now is better than Santos. I don't know if that's controversial, but I would stake that claim.
Yeah, but maybe not for more than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they have to that DP spot is it's the best opportunity to actually improve the team,
Right.
versus where you started the season,
Yeah.
because you're not going to do it with the replacement center back. That's just getting you back to even,
Right.
at best. And so what else you can do? I mean, they have those U22 spots.
Right. Which I'm going to
That's
bring up.
confirmed.
What I'm going to bring up though, like, is it weird we haven't heard anything tying FCC to somebody that's younger to make like a splash with these U22
It
signings?
feels like the U22 deals come out of nowhere usually.
Okay.
Like, I
Yeah,
just
I mean,
don't think there's
Kelsey was the first one, I feel like, where we got,
a thought. Yeah.
and that one was weird because it was like reported as like close, and then reported it was dead, and then like right before the window was over,
Yeah. Yeah. I think Bogert talked
it
about
was
that.
done. Yeah,
That
Schrodinger's deal. It was dead and alive at the same time.
but like I don't think we heard anything really about Angulo until Bogert broke that it was happening. I don't think we heard anything about Atanga.
No. Did we get whispers about
Viacia.
Barreal?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So
I've tried to block most of that era out of my mind, so it's hard for me to like go back to that mental spot where I'm thinking about the time, the manner, and the place in which Alvaro Barreal was signed.
I don't think we had. I mean, the Bopenza thing kind of happened within a couple days of
rumored
the very first,
Yeah.
the very first rumor. So, let's just hope this week that we get multiple news items.
2 questions for you guys. They're a little different though. If you could only add one U22 player to this roster, what position would you want it to play?
It's hard to not say center back right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, so it's like there's a lot of there's moving parts to this. So we're all assuming that we'll have the center back signing wrapped probably this week.
Yeah.
Even though literally nobody else has acknowledged it.
Right.
It's because we did it, right? Nobody wants to have to credit us.
They don't want to credit us, and they're also like, well, they did such a thorough job reporting this that there's no point in even considering.
That's got to be it.
That's got to be it.
Yeah.
Many people are noting. So assuming that deal gets done, which I think we all do, if you are able to bring in a DP striker, then yeah, the U22 player probably needs to be a center back or a midfielder.
Yeah.
Leaning towards center back, you could convince me that a really, really good U22 midfielder.
Yeah. That's where my mind went. But I see the argument for center back, but I feel like young center back is even more of a gamble than normal for a U22. So we saw it with Viacia.
Oh, breaking news.
Oh,
We have breaking news.
oh boy.
We are sorry that your flight DL5065 from Newark on July 21st has been canceled.
Oh, please don't fucking do this to me.
Oh no.
All right, we got to wrap this segment up and see if we get.
Oh no. All right, can we pause this for a second?
Yeah,
Figure this out.
let's figure out our flights here for a second. Make sure we can all leave the city before
All right, so we're leaving. So we've talked about the roster and
we
stuff.
talked about the roster, the transfer, the league.
Let's figure out our flights and then go do Patreon questions.
That sounds like a great part 3.
All right.
All right, we're back here with part 3. We have not yet settled our our flight situation.
Well, I mean, you guys are fine. I'm the one.
Well, we're fine for now. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Like,
we'll see what happens.
yeah, I'm the only one that's FUCT right here. Like this is not great. This is not a great look from Delta. I usually think I think better of Delta. Usually it's like, you know, I'm getting screwed by Frontier or Allegiant or Southwest or something like that.
Right.
This is tough scenes right here.
That is rough. And
that's what, like, here's the worst part is that you get the dreaded text message, your flight has been canceled. Right. Which, number one, this whole like tech outage thing is solved.
Right.
It's done. Everything's working again. They fixed the glitch. Like, so whatever they're saying, whatever they're doing right now is bullshit. Claiming that, oh, there's been, you know, disruptions. Oh, there hasn't.
Right.
Everything is fine. This is bullshit. But what's even more bullshit about it is that they rebooked me on a flight automatically that doesn't depart till tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Jesus.
They should not be able to do that to you without at least also providing in the same breath a free hotel room.
Right.
Somebody should have to call you and talk to you if they're going to do that.
Yeah, like
Right.
there should be like their employee should be on the phone with me. And you know what? Here's the other thing too. I know what kind of a plane I'm on. It's a fucking puddle jumper. They could call all 30 of us and let us know what's going on.
There's no 300 people getting on a Skyliner here.
Right. No, this is nonsense. No, the next part that this is fun is that you get the flight cancellation and then you got to make the phone call to the wife. Hey, sorry, not going to be home tonight.
Yeah.
And then also the call to the work.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, I guess I'm working remote somewhere tomorrow.
Right. Man.
That's an aggressive amount of time to have to kill in New York too on a Monday. Isn't Broadway dark on Monday?
It may have to find something off.
I don't think everything is dark on Monday, but the problem is if your flight's at 8 p.m., nobody does matinees on Monday.
Fuck.
You might be able to go to a Sunday night show.
Ooh.
And like there's a lot of, I mean, there are Sunday night shows.
Okay.
See, silver linings here.
Just alone in New York. You know what the thing is too? You know what I didn't bring on my trip this time?
I've done that. It's fine.
Oh, I thought they'd picked up. It was that it's that okie doke they do like in between the hold music,
Right.
where like they start do the recorded thing. It's like your options may be solvable on our app. It's like, no, I ain't getting a free hotel room through your app, and
Right.
I'm not paying for a hotel room tonight.
Oh God. Well,
It's just going to turn to a travel grievance podcast right now at this point.
I mean, this was literally the worst weekend to pick to do this entire away days thing with
Right.
the outage, obviously, the match result, you know.
Right.
Thankfully, everything else was pretty good.
Well, the good news is that by the time we finish recording here, I can get Andrew to start recording me live on hold with the Delta, and we can add this to the away days trip.
Who doesn't love watching somebody else wait for a customer service representative?
Representative.
My favorite one, and I don't know if people are just messing with folks by saying this, but allegedly, if you yell curse words at the robot AI assistant, they will understand and recognize that you're frustrated and immediately take you to a human rep. So, well, in order to round out the podcast here before we wrap it up and get kicked out of the hotel room, we got some Patreon questions, which if you're a subscriber to the Patreon, hey, thank you. It enabled a little trip like this. This was great. It helps us pay the bills, helps us make more fun, interesting content, I hope.
I mean, I have plenty of time to edit the video tomorrow.
Just sit in your
This
hotel
episode
room.
might be out a lot quicker than we thought.
Yeah, I mean, not that I have to do a whole lot of editing with this episode, but yeah, I'm preparing some airport work here. But no, we've got some questions. So if you're our subscriber to the Patreon, it's only $2 a month. We view it more of a tip jar than anything else, but we also give you the opportunity to throw questions our way, and we will answer them on the podcast. And hey, that's what we're doing right here and right now. So let's run through this. Christian Perez asks us, new MLS rule. You can sign 2 players, no salary limit, and you have 2 blank checks. Who are you bringing in?
Grayson.
I like the question.
Let's say Leandro Paredes,
Okay.
Lucha's best buddy, Argentine national team stalwart, plays an extremely important position, as a central, midfielder who's not, like a 10,
Yeah.
but not a position that you often get to use your DP spot on, but a guy who's going to be extremely influential. So like, I would say this is like the Weston McKennie move, like on steroids a little bit,
but better,
but better for
way
for a whole bunch of reasons. And then,
I'd be tempted to say Jude Bellingham, just because everybody hates him over in England, and give him a fresh start here in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could possibly convince Paredes to come with a blank check. I don't know that you could convince Bellingham to come with a blank check.
If it's a true blank check, as the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase once said, every man has his price.
It's a blank check in the sense that you do run into the limit of Carl's net worth.
No, it's quite literally a blank check. I saw the movie. Okay, I know how this works.
They have to honor it.
Yeah. And then like a 30-year-old makes out with you when you're 13 and tells you to call her when you turn 18.
It's a very normal movie.
Yeah.
So I said one. I said Paredes. You said Bellingham. Kevin, give us one, and then we'll cycle through again.
John Brooks.
Boy, that's like low ambition with your blank check.
Is your blank check move?
I mean, he's probably not coming without it. I mean, here's the thing.
If you're going to do that, just say for Christian Pulisic if you want an American.
I mean, if you're blank checking it, I still think you've got to somehow convince them that it's a good move to move to your area.
Yeah,
because like Saudi Arabia,
another zero.
Saudi Arabia is essentially handing out blank checks to guys and still can't get everyone they want.
You have to go live in Saudi Arabia. They cut people up when they say things bad about the government there. You don't have that problem yet in America.
All right, Virgil van Dijk then. Why not?
That's what I'm thinking right there.
Okay.
That's more like it.
Harry Kane.
Okay. Yeah. That'll be good.
Harry Kane. I don't think I need to really explain that one.
In the realm of possibly realistic, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that as somebody who plausibly would come here.
Yeah.
And he's clearly still got plenty left in the tank. And
like an MLS level, like he would dominate. Like
I think
he's a 60, 70-minute player over in the Euros. You put him in MLS, that dude's going to score 1 billion goals.
Yeah, he scored 1 billion goals for Bayern, and I think Lucha would find him here and there.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Like if you're going to go with another English person, Cole Palmer. Buy young. Get somebody that like can be here for a decade or two.
That's a good call.
I don't know. Yeah. If I got a blank check, if I'm going to do, I want someone with a little star power too.
Ooh, okay.
Give me a Neymar or something like that, where it's just like it's absurd that they're playing for FC Cincinnati.
Yeah.
A fun one would be Heung-min Son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you would have people like very awkwardly trying to make him and Kubo like friends. Even though it's like they're not from the same country.
Right.
And in fact, their countries
hate each other. Like famously hate each other.
Not keen on each other. Yeah.
But people will be like, the two Asian guys.
Like, wonder if they're friends.
And it wouldn't even be like they're like, it wouldn't even be like in that like bad racist way. It would be just in like that kind of like cute, ignorant way.
Cute Midwestern
the mascotization kind of way. Yeah.
Right. Cute Midwestern way. I mean, if we're going to turn this into like a lesson for the Midwest of Ohio, you bring Mo Salah in, and all of a sudden we got to educate the population about an entirely new religion.
That could be fun. Mo Salah could be fun.
Isn't Harris Medunian and Muslim?
Yeah, but like
yes,
but not in a way.
Bosnian, not in a way that people find threatening.
Well, depending on what part of former Yugoslavia you're from.
His name is not Mohammed. Number one. Number two, it's like when your best player is of a different religion, where there are things like fasting requirements, and prayer time and stuff like that. You do all of a sudden have to learn and get a little. There has to be a little cultural understanding, a little cultural acceptance going on.
blank check. Brandon Vasquez.
He's back.
All right.
Let's roll.
Next.
Next question. Great question, though, Christian. Drew
question.
asks us, so I decided to listen to the first episode, and I do have a lot of questions, but here is just
Wait, does he only listen to one episode and then immediately sign up for the Patreon?
I do like that.
That'd be
theory.
hilarious.
But they ask, when will we see another Jonah KLR minute? It's a good question for Jonah.
Did we have a Jonah KLR minute in the first
I think we
episode?
did.
We did, and we were starting it. I think we did for the like first 2 or 3, and then I forgot to like leave a spot for it in the recording, and so I had to do like funny ways to drop it into the episode, and then it was clearly just like more work than it was worth.
Well, how about this?
What's up, world? It's your
you
boy
asked,
Sway from MTV News.
and now you're going to get it.
on the postcast.
Here's a Jonah KLR minute.
Jonas KLR minute. You know, I really don't miss doing a podcast on Sundays. I'll tell you what, folks. Doesn't help that a lot of them were after heinous losses, but nonetheless, I'm also apt to remember how much I edited those KLR episodes. And now look at you people, sitting through upwards of 2 hours, twice a week from the postcast. Maybe I had the audience all wrong. Apparently you do want some tactical talk, and you do care about roster mechanics. Dear listener, I can't pretend I give much of a shit about either of those. In fact, none at all. I remember getting into soccer beyond international soccer after the, 2006 World Cup. My math tells me that's 18 years of following the sport closely, and I can honestly say I still hardly know what's happening out there on the field. But what I do know is the only thing that matters for the FC is having Lucho out there and one excellent center back. Obviously, it'll be varying degrees of success with that, but hemming and hawing about a Corey Baird, an Alphys Powell, a Sergio Santos, or even a Kip Keller, God forbid, ignores that fact. Lucho and a good center back. Everything else is window dressing. We once thought Obi was the ultimate D-mid, but watch him in a Lucho-less game. He's meaningless, pointless. He could be anyone out there. It doesn't matter. Celentano's a good goalie, but does it matter without Lucho? No. Kelsey may turn into one of the best strikers in the MLS, but he's nothing without Luciano Acosta. Luciano? Why not? Luciano. So, listener, friend even, stop focusing and stop fretting over our current state of affairs. The Shield is fine, but we have one. We want to peak a little later this year, and that happens to coincide with our center back situation improving and Lucho being on the field, of course. Nothing else matters when it comes to this team, so let's stop pretending it does. Nothing else matters. This is fun. Let's do it again in a few years. Rise together, fries together. Holler back.
All right.
We're betting on ourselves right there. I don't know if he's going to. I did that. And Kevin got this look on his face right there. Like, oh, I guess I got to call Jonah now to see if he can record something before we hit post on this. Now, if there was ever a time to do this and bet on ourselves, this was it right here because, we're recording. It's early enough in the day that Jonah has an entire day to get something to you before this has to
Chief
post.
needs a win.
Right.
I need a win.
Chief needs a win.
I'm down bad right now.
We're 0 for 2 on the trip.
All right,
How we
what's
doing
next?
right here? Let's go.
Next question is from Matt Berry. And man,
Give a
maybe
live update
Matt
right
Berry from What We Do in the Shadows,
it
huh?
has to be. He says, you win the lottery. What private jet are you
Phoenix,
buying?
Arizona.
My trip page to book or the child and infant travel page for more information.
Oh, it's still going good. Okay.
All right.
All right, so what was the question? Sorry.
You win the lottery. What private jet are you buying?
Anyone that can get me out of New York tonight.
I'm not up to speed on my
The
Gulfstream
PJs.
models. So
I'll be honest. I don't know a lot about PJs.
Are you sure about that, Grayson?
So, I guess certainly it's something made by Airbus, right?
yeah,
Definitely not a Boeing.
Not a Boeing. Although
Probably going cheap now.
there are companies that sell the custom 747s with like an all interesting interior, like an Air Force One-esque.
All right, so let's put it this
Plane.
way. Instead of
Do you think I could buy an SR-71?
they're not very comfortable, I don't think.
That's all right.
Get where you're going quickly.
How many do they hold? Like 10?
Like one? Two?
Just like a tiny little.
Yeah, the SR-71 Blackbird, the one that's like the spy plane.
Oh yeah. Sorry, excuse me. I'm sitting here trying to rack my brains for. Yeah.
Okay. Instead of like the private jet question, I'm going to modify the question. Okay. If you had a private plane, what is a amenity you would insist upon adding to your private plane? And you can't say mattress because we're going to try and keep it classy here.
Hot towel. I feel like that's gone away.
Hot towel service.
Yeah. It would be fun to have.
Grayson, what's an amenity that needs to be on your private plane? Can be anything.
A smoking lounge.
Smoking lounge.
Let me think a second. Why don't you answer, Chief?
Yeah. What are you adding?
I'm adding. I think it'd be really fun to have like a stadium seating setup, just be able to watch TV on your plane.
Ooh.
Like a big ass comfy chair, like the lounge chair.
Yeah, how many tiers are in this stadium style seating?
Maybe stadium seating is bad. Like the whole like home theater seating, like where you can actually sit and you can enjoy a film. Yeah, it's one thing to watch the in-flight movie. I love watching movies in flight. It'd be nice to have a good film-going experience in the air.
Surround sound built into the tube.
So I actually do. I think I do have an answer to both questions. I would get one of those planes that, like one of those little planes that lands on the water.
Oh yeah.
Oh, like in Tailspin?
Like in Tailspin.
Yeah.
Which I was a fan of Tailspin as a kid.
I love Tailspin.
And
it was reckless to allow that kid to like surf behind the plane. That seems like a terrible idea in hindsight.
Last year we went to Isle Royale National Park. And you can get there two ways. You can get there by boat or you can get there by like seaplane.
Yeah.
And we took a seaplane there and back. Took it there, camped a few days, and then took it back, and it's super fun to like land in the water, like between the little tiny islands, and the guy's got to the guy has to he has to turn it just right so that it gets close enough to the dock that he can jump out and like tie it to the dock real fast.
Oh yeah.
So the first time he tried it, he missed.
Oh,
he didn't jump out, but he that would have been bad.
Yeah.
But he like
the pilot.
But he's like oh missed that one. So then just like did another circle and then got us. But it was pretty fun to like watch the guy like he's like have to jump out of the plane and tie it to the dock real fast before like we just go sliding away.
The boat or the plane's moving away on you.
My favorite joke from the show Tailspin that I didn't get when I was a kid. Do you remember the name of the city they were based out of?
No.
Cape Suzette.
Cape Suzette.
Oh, okay.
Like crepe Suzette. Crepe Suzette.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a food item.
Oh, that's great. So yeah, thank you, Matt, for the question.
All right, before we go any further on this, I need to know best Disney afternoon show that you watched as a kid, Kevin.
Oh God, I don't know if it counts as Disney per se. It was on ABC, but I loved Recess.
Recess?
Yeah,
I'll allow it. Grayson?
I liked Tailspin.
Yeah, Tailspin was good. No, Tailspin was a great choice. It made me think about this. I'll accept that as well if that's your final answer.
Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck is the right answer, but like I would hear other arguments as well.
And Gargoyles was fun.
Ooh, Gargoyles.
Gargoyles. That's the way that was Disney. It was the
Disney.
same. That wasn't the same people that made the
Batman. No, that was
Disney. It had like the same aesthetic as like Batman.
Right? No, it was their answer to Batman. They were like, "What if we made our answer to Batman, but just had the entire cast of Star Trek do the voices?" Will Riker, hell of a villain on that show. Rescue Rangers, also a good choice in this space, I think.
Like Rescue Rangers.
Even the Aladdin show wasn't bad. Like they didn't have Robin Williams as the genie, but the show was entertaining, I thought.
I don't think I ever saw that.
Wasn't the genie Dan Castellaneta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing a Robin Williams impersonation.
Yes, of course. I like that.
Every once in a while, a Homer would
come out there. Yeah. No, every so often a Simpsons voice would emerge wildly on that show. And it's like, oh, okay.
All right. Kyle asks us, who would the Post be excited to see the FC host a cash grab friendly against?
personally, the United States men's national team.
100%.
Yeah.
We were actually talking about this last night at the bar, how good of a concept it was
Yeah.
to have the WNBA All-Stars play Team
The Olympic
USA
team. Yeah.
and the WNBA All-Stars beating them.
Beat them with what you found was to be one foreign
It's
player.
all but one American players. That's incredible. That is so good. And anytime I would love to see, I would love to watch the FC play the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah.
I think that people would be, not people in this room, but I think a lot of people would be surprised how competitive
I agree with you on that.
that game would be.
Yeah. I think people underestimate how much better club teams are than national teams, even with the talent disparity. But given that they train so often and have robust systems.
I mean, you have to let us have Miles because he wouldn't be a starter.
right.
Right.
And then, Miazga is as good as anybody that they have at center back.
Lucho's better.
Better than
Lucho
basically anybody.
Be the most talented player on the field.
Boy, that's going to be a take that'll piss people off if we clip that.
I mean,
Berhalter ball, they're gonna want to play with the ball,
yeah, that's fine.
which works well with how we play. So, yeah,
That'd be a fun one.
Yeah. Cash grab friendly. If we can't pick a national team,
Yeah.
who would it be?
I mean, it would just be, I'd pick a team that I'd want to see. Like
that's like-
Everton or whatever, but
No, what about get one of those Saudi teams, super teams over here? That'd be fun.
like Ronaldo's team.
Yeah. Then you can cheer against them for there really is no divided loyalties there because you bring a cash grab friendly over.
Yeah.
The problem with bringing Man United or
Right.
Chelsea is the stadium would be half full of people that are just there to see Chelsea, not for the FC.
You know what I would say. I would say a team like Young Boys or like Hajduk Split or something from a lower level Euro League, just to show and maybe we would get shut up, but I don't think we would.
I think so.
Just to show Europe isn't. Not all Europe is Europe.
Right. Shakhtar Donetsk. That's my team I want from that level.
I think maybe, but
Ajax.
I think they're a bit better.
Really,
Ajax would be really tough.
Yeah.
right? But if you could have an MLS team beat Ajax, there'd be some narrative changing going on.
Yeah, I don't think they would, but I think they would take on a lot of teams in Belgium, Switzerland.
Yeah.
All these various other
Austria,
countries with
Scotland.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Austria. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we got them.
Um,
I like that, but
Yeah.
also no cash grab friendlies. I'm kind of sick of them.
yeah, I'm not a huge fan. All right.
Oh boy.
I like this question a lot. Comes from KP. If you could implode an MLS stadium with no damage to other property or nearby people, which stadium would you implode? Recency bias would tell me
Red Bull Arena.
Red Bull Arena.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't need to implode it. You could just explode it and it wouldn't damage anything around there. Just some parking lot damage.
Yeah. Lower.com field.
Yankee Stadium.
Two birds, one stone, baby.
Gillette Stadium for the Patriots.
I think Gillette Stadium is probably the answer.
If you are a MLS fan and you want to see the league succeed, you have to implode Gillette Stadium.
Yeah.
So it forces the New England Revolution to find a situation in Boston.
Finally build their Boston
Which
Stadium.
apparently they have, but
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I feel like we've been down this road a bunch of times.
It's the first time a government has given a thumbs up to anything that they've thrown out there. So it's progress.
We're here in New York. They're going to build. We were with some NYCFC season ticket holders last night.
Yeah.
They're building their new stadium. I think they are making a mistake with the NYCFC stadium.
Ooh.
So they've got that whole entrance that's the cube
Yeah.
entrance. I think the entire stadium should be a cube. We have the Sphere in Vegas.
What if you build the whole stadium out of the cube?
Just the cube should be an entire stadium. There should just be a giant cube with LED around all 6 sides.
Oh, the Beijing Olympics. What was it? 2012. I don't know when it was. 2008. They had the swimming complex was a cube that had these
bizarre lighted bubbles on it.
Yeah, I don't want bubbles. I want LED panels. I want it to look exactly like the Vegas sphere, except in cube form.
But in cube form.
Well, then what we're doing here in America, which I love, is that, you know, we don't have a design aesthetic in this country. We were walking through Rockefeller Center, Kevin and I and our photographer, Andrew, were walking through before Grayson got here. And I commented that like Art Deco is truly the one thing that America probably has contributed to architecture and, you know, building aesthetic and whatnot. I think that like what are the new American aesthetic is, and hear me out on this.
All right.
It is geometric shapes.
Ooh. Okay.
So we have the sphere in Vegas.
Yeah.
We have the Pentagon in Washington.
Yeah.
We can add the cube in New York. We've got the pyramid in Memphis.
Does the arch count as a shape in this case? No. Okay.
No, it's not a shape. No, but like all we get, like, you know, we'll get like home of the UFC. We've got the octagon.
Yes.
So we can build a bigger octagon somewhere. I think that like we need to get all of the basic polygons in building form in this country somewhere. So remember we were talking about where Cincinnati needs something to put it on the map.
Yes.
Like we don't have an arch. We don't have a Statue of Liberty. We don't have some like thing people go to see. We don't have an Eiffel Tower.
Right.
We need to pick a polygon.
Eiffel Tower.
Well, it's a King's Island. It's very unimpressive.
All right,
after I've seen the real thing. No, we need to find a polygon that we can make into a giant building structure in Cincinnati.
This is the Lewis Black economic
and that
revitalization plan.
And that building should be the Bengals indoor practice facility.
Should be the cube.
The hexagon.
Yes. Yeah, whatever it is. That should be the Bengals. That should be the Bengals indoor practice facility.
The hexagons. We're going for 6. We're scoring 6 every time. The hexagon.
I like it.
They want to build that new arena. Jeff Birding wants to build that new arena downtown by the stadium.
Pick a shape.
The
oval.
The dodecahedron.
Hell yeah. Let's get wild on this.
A 20-sided
die. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Last question here. Brett asks us in the spirit
Halsey?
of Sova.
Okay.
No, not Halsey.
No, not Halsey. Or
Brett
Halsey,
Sova Halsey
under a pseudonym. Asks us in the spirit of F, Marry, Kill, out of Buka, Orishano, and Kelsey, who would you buy out, sign long-term, and loan out?
So wait, what are the options here?
You've got Buka, Orishano, and Kelsey.
So buy out, sell long-term, and loan out?
Yes.
Wait. So they all have to go.
Well, one you're keeping long-term. The other one you're loaning out for more minutes, but you get them back, let's say, next year. And the other one you're buying out of their contract. They have to go.
So sign, buyout, sell. Or sign, buyout, loan.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the purposes of this argument, are we suggesting that all 3 of these players are under FC contract? Because Kelsey,
two of these
3 are not on FC contracts right now.
Let's assume this is a February 25th problem. They're all on the roster.
I think you got to loan Kelsey.
Okay.
Because I would assume that he's the one that probably needs minutes the most, and he's the one who's most likely to have his minutes cut by a DP striker.
Oh, and you're banking on him coming back, but that means you're giving up Buka and Orishano.
I think you got to sell.
What do you mean giving up?
Oh, I don't know.
What are they? Read the options again.
Okay, it is buyout, sign long term.
So you're only giving up one. Out. So loan Kelsey.
Okay.
Sign long term Luka. Buyout Buka. I don't love buying out Buka,
right?
But
they're all 3 good players. We're not saying one
if
of
the
them.
If the option was sell. I would say probably sell Luka.
Yeah.
And get some money. But if it's buy out Buka.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal is that like Luka, well, I mean, this is a complicating factor. Luka might be not long for this team anyway. So when you say sign long term, you're assuming he's going to sign here long term. He may have options. Kelsey is in the investment property. Kelsey is someone where you might think maybe a year or 2 down the road, you could recoup a profit if he develops.
Or you sign Orishano long term to maximize the
sell on
the transfer fee. Yeah.
Yeah.
and loan out Kelsey for minutes?
I don't like this question.
Good.
Yeah, I don't
question.
like it either.
No,
It's not because it's a bad
No,
question.
thank you for asking the
Because
question. I don't like what
because
it
it's
made
not
me-
fun to think about.
No, I don't like where it took my mind. I'm already in a bad place because of my transportation situation.
We
right
may
now.
have to deal with literally that situation at the end of next season.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I think that's the end of it. Chief, how about you end this for us?
I don't know if I'm ever going to leave New
Go
York.
fuck yourself, Delta Airlines.
Unless you can get me out of here tonight, go fuck yourself, Delta Airlines.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Cincy Postcast. It is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out at thepostcincy.com or just click a link in the description to check out some of our written work. It also has links to our social media accounts across all sorts of different platforms, including YouTube, where we are trying to do more and more video content. Please, dare I say it, like and subscribe and leave a comment. But no, that would be really, really helpful. I also want to give a thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers. They're a local Cincinnati band who provided all of the music for this episode. We love having them on board. You can check them out. Again, link in the description of this episode to find out where they might be playing shows next or where you can listen to more of their music. Also want to give a massive, massive thank you to the awesome and very attractive patrons over on Patreon. It is a voluntary subscription that people take out with no real promise of anything extra that keep this show afloat. And we are so, so thankful to those of you that have decided to take that commitment. If you do like the show, or at least just want to engage with other people who have listened to the show and want to talk about FC Cincinnati, MLS, soccer, or really anything else, you can go on over to Discord. Again, link in the description. Lots of links in the description where you can find a link to the Discord. That's where we are keeping the conversation going 24/7. It feels like it's a really fun group of people in there just talking about FC Cincinnati and, like I said, just about everything else. And finally, I'll say it. If you liked this episode, and given the fact that you've made it all the way to the end, I have to assume you either like it or for some reason cannot reach the stop button. Please share this episode with a friend or family member or someone who likes FC Cincinnati. The best way for us to grow is from a personal recommendation from somebody who likes it. And if that's you, please tell other people. And if you don't have any friends, feel free to give us a review on whatever your podcast platform of choice is. We'll take anything we can get. But again, a huge, huge thank you to everybody for listening to the show. I am blown away that anybody listens to this. So again, I well and truly mean this. Thank you so much for listening.